here with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrinalini. Always a pleasure to be on this show. Thank
Yes,
you for having me here today for the start of the next season.
Yes, we're very excited, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
GVCC VC Live, which is a part of the Co-Creators Club. So before I ask you a couple of questions, also want to tell our audience what VC Live is. It's a monthly series of interactive and educative conversations that we have with experts from the fields of architecture and design. In the first season, what we were talking about was we were addressing various aspects of conscious design and what makes conscious design, or what makes design conscious, and how do we design consciously. So we had addressed various topics, and we had a plethora of very fine experts from architecture and design to come and speak with us. These are informal but insightful conversations where, we address young talent and experts and amateurs, and we get to know what they're doing, go behind the scenes with them and understand exactly how they process their design and their creative ventures. This entire thing is curated by myself, I'm Mrinalini Gatyuk, and my colleague Sneha Ulal. So a little snippet about us. Sneha is a trained creative writer, an educator, and curator of storytelling experiences. Having previously worked with Jaipur Rugs, Godrej Properties, Elle Decor, Exchange for Media, her focus currently lies in brand and marketing communication. She enjoys working with design, luxury, retail, real estate, fintech, and social impact brands. I, on the other hand, come from the other end of the spectrum. I am an architect by training, and having practiced architecture, lighting design, I've taught at university and done a fair bit of research work in historical narratives. I was the founding editor of Mondoc India, the magazine, and stirworld.com. But my curiosities have shifted a little bit now, and they lie in questioning normative mechanisms in the creative community, usually through written and curatorial practices. And now I'm looking at history and critical thinking in design. So what's been interesting is to take Sneha and my interests and combine them with Godrej Locks and people like Sham, who've given us this very encouraging platform to do these talks. But Sham, while in the first season, we were talking about conscious design, we've decided that in this season, which is season 2, we're going to be talking a little bit about smarter living, right? What does smarter living signify to Godrej Locks, and why is it important to you?
I think, the clever deployment of the advancements that have happened in technology and design, how do you really bring the technology alive for the purpose of really making sure that you create some extraordinary form and also blend that with functionality for everyday things that we do while at work or at places, so that at the end of the day, time is money, and it helps in driving productivity, convenience, comfort, and all kinds of both functional as well as emotional benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And in this today's fast-paced life, I think these are extremely important when it comes to design of things which are both.
Sham, I think we're having a little trouble with your network. Yeah. Sorry, Sham, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think we're having a little trouble with your network, so your voice is not very clear. It's really interesting. We talk about smarter living and we talk about technology, but we're all so dependent on technology that we find it difficult to function when technology doesn't function very well. Which is also interesting because today with our speaker, we want to talk about smarter living, which goes beyond technology as well, and how
Can
smarter
you hear
living
me
is
now?
not only dependent. Yes, we can, Sham. You're back.
No, I think I had a temporary problem with my network. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No,
So,
so we
do
were
you want me
talking
to
about this.
repeat?
If you could just quickly point down, like pin down what you were saying earlier.
No, I think I just mentioned that the clever, use of or deployment of the advances technology is making today in making sure that we bring in everyday things in our lives while at work and home, benefits of convenience and, comfort and, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to productivity and the way we use our time, given that, there are so many demands. I think that's, to me, smart living in everyday things that we design and develop, including processes and many other things that we work with. So I think smart is the current, expectation of things that we are all doing. And
Yeah.
I'm happy that today we're launching this new season, with this specific focus. And
Yeah.
happy that, we will continue to have many such sessions, involving this specific operative word.
And we talk about you don't necessarily have to work hard, you have to work smart. And smart comes in various ways, right? In
Correct.
various aspects of our life. Sham, would you like to mention a couple of things that Godrej Locks is doing in order to make our lives smarter, if I may say so?
Well, I think there
There's
are
a
quite a
lot
few.
of innovation that you're bringing. Mm-hmm.
No, there are quite a few things, Mrinalini, that Godrej is involved in. We have a multi-generation product planning exercise at work in our company.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last 3 years, more than 3 years, we've been working on smart kitchens and
Right.
kitchen productivity tools and many such things. And we have launched a very, very exciting range of kitchen fittings, as you call them, or accessories, if you call them, in the name of Skiddo, smart kitchen drawers and organizers. And I think that's something which I consider as really very, very smart insofar as Indian kitchens are concerned, and the homemakers and everybody who works in the kitchen, and who has a passion to work, in the kitchen, to make their lives very convenient and super, super efficient, and also drive very high levels of productivity, ergonomics, and what have you. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing that we've been working on is smart devices for our home safety.
Right.
And I think as of now, we've launched at least a dozen such products in the marketplace for our homes, for our other applications within the house, for our main door safety, for our internal door safety, if you like, and many such furniture applications. And there are now a slew of new CIoT-based smart digital products that are
Mm-hmm.
in the making, in the works, for
Yeah.
the both the residential application and institutions, including hospitality, healthcare, and what have you. So these are some of the areas that Godrej has been involved in, and we are then focusing on many other areas of the house, which I will talk about at an appropriate time. But essentially,
Sure.
for us, smart is about productivity, convenience, ergonomics, and efficiency.
Great. Thank you, Sham. I think that you've summed it up quite well because that is exactly what we want to talk about today, and not just today, through the season. Smart is a lot more than just digital and technology. And I am going to invite all our participants today that in case you want any more information, we do have a GVCC newsletter that goes out every month, and my colleagues will be sharing a link to their website. So in case you'd like more information about the products, please have a look. Sham, thank you so much for being here this evening and for
My
kickstarting
pleasure.
this.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I know we did one. Well, technically, this is not the beginning of the season because we had Alan Abraham speaking with, and
At the stake.
doing the first, yes, which
The
was
stake.
really interesting because over there we were talking about smarter living, but at a public scale and at a very different context. And so it'll be interesting to see what's happening tonight because we are actually going from a large public scale to the interiors, and who better to talk about smarter living and smarter interiors than Maithili Raut of Red Architects. A very, very warm welcome, Maithili. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it, Mrinalini.
Absolutely. I'm going to give a quick introduction. I know most people know you. You guys are very, very popular, especially on social media these days. It's a lot of fun to see what you guys are up to. But a little bit about you. Maithili graduated with an undergrad degree in architecture from CEPT University in Ahmedabad, after which she did a post-graduation in architecture and urban design at Columbia University in New York. With experience in the US, France, and in India across various disciplines, she is now a partner at Red Architects in Mumbai, where she practices architecture, interior design, and product design. And her projects range from residential offices, retail, to development of heritage structures as well. So Maithili, you've got a very wide portfolio in front of you. You're doing all kinds of work. But what is also interesting is that being a part of Red Architects, it's not just you alone, but you're working with partners. You're working in a large firm. And so before we get into smarter living and how exactly you do your projects, tell us a little bit about how, the lot of you work together, and how do you kind of bring smartness into your working as a group?
So that's an easy question. Hi, I'm Maithili Raut, and along with my founding partners, Ekta and Rajiv Parekh, we are the Reds in Prabha Devi, Mumbai, but we have projects all over India and a few outside as well. To tell you a little bit about us, we are three very, very different individuals. So we bring very
I'll vouch
different,
for that.
very different points of view, and so will my partners. We bring very different points of view to the table, especially to the lunch table, where you'll find Ekta and me for a longer time than you find Rajiv. But jokes apart, I think our strength lies in the fact that what unifies us is our belief in collaborations, our belief in design detail and design in general, but collaborations are very important to us. Not only do we collaborate amongst ourselves, but also with other professionals in the field, with architects, sculptors, artisans, fabricators, smart living professionals, so to speak, people like Godrej who know a lot. And it's fun. We don't. It's a light-hearted banter that we always have going with each project. We don't believe in a sort of singular design aesthetic, so to speak. But I think we for every challenge that we face, we study it for its unique parameters and then put on the red lens. And that helps keep us on our toes and keep innovating, So it's fun.
And you're doing some incredible work. And I think a lot of that innovation is, we all have the opportunity to see that now, thanks to social media, which is also a smart kind of way of reaching out to people, and not just reaching out to people, but also, creating awareness and talking about what is available, what you're doing, design technologies, innovations. So we're very excited, Maithili, to kind of see some of your work today. I know you have a presentation for us, so perhaps you could share your screen and we could begin with that.
Sure. I'll just go.
And just while Maithili is pulling up the presentation, a quick reminder to everybody, in case you have any questions or comments, please do share them with us. We'll keep pulling them into the conversation as we go along.
So can you see the screen now, the presentation?
We can... Yes, now we can.
So today is about smart living through efficient interior design. And thank you, Mrinalini and Sneha, for such a fitting topic, because what it has definitely forced us to do is to organize our archive of innovation, so to speak. Subconsciously, we're always doing it for each of our projects, but this presentation has forced us to collectively gather all our little design vignettes. What I'll do is I will be presenting not a single project extensively, but I'll talk about our work through different and try to showcase our efforts towards smart living and smart interior design through little vignettes and little examples of in each project. So let's get to it. Okay, so what are the words that come to your mind when someone says design? Out of the box, means to an end, creativity, definitely innovation, technology, science, and architecture. So finding a solution, keeping all these in mind. But what leads to innovations in design, in the built environment? We know for a fact that over centuries, innovations have happened because of need for transport, need to eat, need for shelter. But when we specifically talk about the built environment and interior design, what then in today's world forces us to innovate? I think there are very clear points here. I think the need for flexibility and adaptation, especially after COVID, homes have doubled up as office spaces, hangout spaces. In the morning you're having breakfast, then you can be having a meeting. Then in the afternoon, your kids are playing in the same space. So each space needs, then you have guests over, and then, you need to adapt the same space. Need for efficient use of space. What I mean is, especially in cities like Bombay, our homes are very small. So how do we innovate to efficiently use even the smallest of spaces, which come at a premium? Square footage is at a premium, maybe not in large farmhouses in Delhi, but definitely in urban areas. There's paucity of time and resources. And I think these last two drive us at Red for sure. Love for technology and the need to challenge and grow as a designer. These 2 points are very essential and sort of force us outside our comfort zone to innovate. So you can say innovation plus technology equals to smart solutions based from desirability, feasibility, leading to its viability. Just introducing a few design innovations of our time. These obviously are not ours. Everything from hydroponic farming, where in the same square footage of space, without soil, without pesticides, and with water efficiency, you're growing, 10 times the crops. Or your prefab micro house, which is, as sustainability becomes more essential in our world. What we're doing now is, rather than pouring concrete, we're developing the technology to have prefab micro housing for everyone, which will be built in with smart solutions such as a green roof. Urban reforestation, you can see the Bosca Verticale example in Milan. This is a fantastic prototype for where architecture and biodiversity sort of mingle, where humans interact with nature, even in the urban context, or even in the smart Sharifi house in Iran, which is on the left over here, where you can see these boxes can move around and change according to seasons, time of the year, time of the day, give warmth in winter, where there's, they can become terraces in the summer. So these are all smart solutions happening all around the world. When it comes to interior design, I think we can categorize into 3 categories. Purely high tech, machine engineered, fabricated in a factory, etc., and I'll explain that just shortly. What I'm more interested is in the next 2 categories, which is low tech, high design, or low tech smart solutions and high tech smart solutions. These are both in the designer's control. And let me show you some examples of what I mean. So the first one is your typical, smart house solutions. We saw some in Godrej as well, where thanks to automation, you can control lights, security, energy saving, locking. You can have video door phones. You can save water. These are a few of my favorites where, you have things like these, which are developing all over the world, where there's a follow me cooler and there's a automatic fish feeder, 3D printed homes. So these are all what I call high tech solutions. And that is in their own category. But what I want to talk about a little more is what we do at Red is, sorry, let me just, what I call low tech and high design. So smart living doesn't necessarily mean you have to, be like over engineering solutions or, have some really mechanical gear helping you. It can be very simple, insightful design tactics used to give you what you need. I mean, I spoke about flexibility of spaces, and I'll show you in a minute. This is a friend's house we did. And you can see that, I mean, this was a house which they acquired, which was half done. And what we often do at Red is sort of break open that extra living bedroom next to the living room. So it just gives you flexibility of the living room. When you don't have a guest, then you have these sliding doors, which can help, open up the space to the living room immediately. And this is another sort of... Sorry, that was loud. I have quite a few videos from my Instagram, so they're a little fun, and they're peppered all over my presentation. This is my partner, Rajiv. This is my partner, Rajiv. And they'll show you, the videos will show you what a fun time we have at work. So, this is a puja room, which is a sliding door, but it gives you a completely different space. This is another house we did very early on, where you can integrate the living room with the guest room. And when you have no guests or when no one's watching TV, the living room feels large. Similarly, on the right, you have an office space where we did the same, where we could integrate 2 conference rooms and have a larger space. So these are all very simple solutions. This is our own office. These are the partitions we have. And though they don't give privacy of sound, they're, visually, they give you visual privacy. And these are made by, we have a furniture arm called Crafted. And Shilpa, who works with Craftred, has envisioned these partitions, and everyone in our team has sat and hand woven these, both these on the left and the right, as you can see. And I was talking about space saving as the second low-tech smart solution, and I'll just put on this video in a minute to show you what I mean. So within a very small space, we were able to give this sort of playful ambiance to the child, and she clearly enjoys it a lot. There are other, very important flexible, you can make flexible furniture. This is again our office. These are all little examples of how you can, smarten up your space and double up a single piece of furniture for multi-use. On the left, you can see it's sort of a meeting table, and on the right, it immediately, through simple sliding mechanism, it's become 3 workstations. What we believe, what we've done and honed over the years is detailing in our interior design, and what we absolutely hate are these projecting things like, projecting door handles which hurt you going in and out. So we have various simple solutions for things like door handles, which I'll show you guys. So this is a stone inlay that it doesn't spoil the polish of the door. And it's a very simple solution. This is my partner Ekta. She'll show you another. Doors don't project out. This is our latest project, where again we didn't want to. This was, you know, there's a big black wall as a backdrop to the bar, and obviously it doubles up as storage, so we didn't want any handles or projections from it, and we managed to keep them all hidden. When we do have handles, we like to have fun with them. I look good, wow, I know you care. Bring it over to my plate. You don't know what you do. On the left, you can see this really enhanced door handle detail. So when we do have them, we make sure they're, intentional. This is another very simple, as you can see, it's called the side table hack. You know, we have all these a clutter of wires always by the bedside of your chargers, and it just looks ugly. So for most of our projects, we have this very simple detail at the back of the side drawers, which we. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. As you can see, all these solutions are super low tech. This is the fun element in our own office, where, you know, normally when you're drawing, you have light on the drawing. We've sort of changed the interdependency, and we've put the drawing on the lamp. It's just a fun detail. This was another challenge. This project was a challenge because after we broke ground, the developer then said that we had to carve out a fire-rated lobby space. So, you know, when we started, the elevators opened straight onto this living room that you can see. But a month down the line, the developer told us that we need to carve out this lobby space. So what we did to keep the rustic look of the space, we sourced doors, old wooden doors from Chor Bazaar, and we had to coat them with fire retardant chemicals. These glass sort of MS glass partitions in between. They brought in natural light into the lobby, and they also are, you know, fire rated. So what I'm trying to say is that just because you know, someone says you have to follow a certain rules are important to follow, but you can always find solutions to design solutions to sort of, you know, fit your design. We do a lot of these. These are workstations where, again, you see there are no wires. We grout these MS pipes into the ground. This is on the right is our office. The raceways are below, accessible through a little trap door. And all the wires come through this hollow MS pipe. And again, it's a very clean, simple detail. Some of the tables that we've had fun doing on the right is this is a single piece of marble from which this cone has been carved. And the way there's a rod grouted in the ground, and we had like about 30 people carrying this piece of stone and then hoisting it up onto the thing. On the left, these are Raku fired table legs. They are clearly not taking the weight. There is a steel rod going through the hollow legs, and this was done in collaboration with Orvi Surfaces. We had a lot of fun. So, I mean, this was sort of all the sort of low tech solutions to making smarter spaces or smarter details, so to speak. Going over to the high tech, high design, which is always more fun. This is a motorized wardrobe wall, and I know Sneha loves this video, so I will play it.
His soul. Snatch. His soul.
As you can see in the plan right here, when not required, the wardrobe stacks up. There are sensors in the ground, so everything is automated, but it does have a manual override. So, for example, the opening is also automated. You know have your fingerprint key lock, and the wardrobe will open. There are sensors in the ground. If there is any movement of, say, your pet or a little child in between the two wardrobes, then they will not close. So we have all the safety features in place. And what it enables is that it gives you the option of having a large bedroom and a walk-in wardrobe. So this was a video of how it was engineered. This is all very high-tech engineering. There's a trap door on top, which opens sideways, and then there's a set of rails on which this wardrobe moves, etc., etc. It's not getting into. This is Rajiv's favorite basin of all time. He loves showing off because no one can tell how he figured it out, how he supported this, and how he had how the water drains. So there's no bottle trap. And the way we did it was that we have this clever MS rods support system, and then
I was sad, mad, and broken on my bed, hoping I could rid of all the voices in my head. I was opening a packet of an undeveloped med when I was met with a prescription of a bullet made of lead. And when I woke up in an hour in a pool of my sweat, I said, I swear to God, I'll never even try to sleep again. So instead I took my pen and started writing evidence. And when I started making sense, I found that I had reached the end.
So under here, there's a openable shutter, and the sort of drain pipe is behind that shutter. And what happens, as you saw in the video, is this curve helps the water drain through the center into the little holes along the edge, and the drain pipe is right behind this to gather that water. And obviously, it can be maintained by opening the shutter. It's fairly simple to maintain. This was another fun powder bathroom where the tap from Agape was, used, and it sort of gives you the sense of mountains over a horizon. And we have this a grill at the bottom, which acts as a cover, but also to keep things. And the water drains through. It's collected in this glass detail below, and sort of gives you an overall peaceful experience while washing your hands. We have a lot of fun. Here on the left, it's all very stealth. Absolutely fun island TV idea where you don't see the wires going to the TV. It's all through this pipe and through the floor. We have raceways in the floor, and it can be accessed for any maintenance. This is a
Parece que hoy me gustas un poco más.
Okay.
Hola, ¿cómo Son esta noche.
Let me take you to
Parece.
This is a fun table made by Craft Thread. And the beauty of this table, there are a couple of things that there is a inner structure of steel, which allows it to be very strong, even though walls are far apart. And the top, there's an understructure of steel even in the top, which allows the edges to be pretty thin. One other detail that we do with Crafted, collaborating with Crafted, is that we have this little slot at the back, and any of this kind of partitions cleverly done can be slotted in, or even your wire managers, etc., can go through that. Your table is clean, no messy wires, and I think we do a lot of that kind of detailing. This is a restaurant in Bandra where we had to give an indoor-outdoor feel. Bombay is not always okay for the outdoor, so we use these Somfy motors simply to pull up these sort of glass blinds, and when they're down, you can turn on the ACs. So for 2-3 months of the winter, you can actually use the space. Similarly done, this is our architectural project in Alibag, where we have this pulley in the middle here, if you can see, and it's used to open this giant glass door to sort of merge the indoors and the outdoors. This is a work in progress in collaboration with Abujani and Sandeep Khosla, and this is a screen we have been working on, where each piece can then pivot. And I think we're still in working on this. This is a fun thing which is to come, where we are saving space by having moving platforms. Not done yet, working on the engineering of it, but watch the space. We'll definitely have some fun doing this. And we will have protective railings, of course. So that, in short, is all the experiments which we've been doing.
Thank you so much, Maithili. That's been really interesting. I mean, we've been getting a glimpse of what you guys have been up to on social media, but to actually see it and to get an idea of how you actually approach these designs is something quite new and interesting. And what I was quite fascinated by was this idea that, today when we think of smart living, everybody automatically, it becomes your intuition to go into talking about technology and digital and, how things have to be mechanized and engineered. And you've said a lot of things about like not over-engineering things or looking at high design and low tech, right? And I think that's been really, that's spoken to me a lot. And I'm sure we've been getting a lot of really interesting comments from our audience as well. Because it's not always about the technology. It's not always about putting a motor into something to make it smart, right? And, so I wanted to ask you, what are some of the most common requests that you get from your clients in spaces, especially, let's say, residential spaces, where they are struggling with certain ideas or they're struggling with not having certain things that they want in the house, and you have to come up with innovative solutions?
First and foremost, it's always storage. Nobody has enough storage. And
Absolutely.
and the worst thing to do is put storage under your bed. I keep telling my clients, when you see that window light come through from under your bed, that's when you feel lightness in the room. By putting a box under your bed, you're not doing anyone, especially yourself, any favors. So I think storage is a big issue. And then there's always back of house. The thing is, what we spend a lot of time doing at Red is we spend a lot of time in the initial planning, in the layout, understanding how a family lives, a sort of a joint business family will live differently from sort of, only a 4-people family, a mother and a parents and children, young family, satellite nuclear family. So I think what we do is with the clients, essentially, the first half is about getting to know them, because this is the house that you're making for the client. Even if it's an office space or a retail space.
Right. Yeah.
It's very important to have those initial conversations where we get to understand how you're going to inhabit that particular space. And then find so that I cannot stress how important layout and moving through your space is. Planning that is very important, more than what the space will physically look like. Because that comes to us like second nature, but understanding and finding the solutions for day-to-day living is very important, and is I think it's always a challenge because the client wants to move on. Like, can we start the work already? So, and we have to say, hold on.
I think this might be an interesting time to bring in a poll question. We have a question for the audience. So I'm going to pull up just going to ask my colleague Rudra if you can pull up the poll question. What are the challenges you currently face with designing smaller homes? It would be interesting to know what people are facing on a day-to-day basis, right? Because we get different kinds of clients, like you said. We get people from Bombay with smaller flats, and you get people from Delhi who are, who have larger sort of farmhouses. But of course, storage is like the lowest common denominator in everybody's life, unfortunately or fortunately. But yeah, I mean, I think what also is interesting is that, when we're talking about just culturally, how Indians are, how Indians traditionally used to cook, for example. And now that is changing. The fad is changing, where people want to cook themselves, but you want to cook, but you want to be a part of what's happening outside the kitchen as well. How do you start to integrate those kind of, upcoming trends or changes in people's lifestyles? That would be interesting to know as well.
Yeah, am I supposed to answer this or wait for the poll?
Yes, please. I think we'll give our audience a minute or so to answer the poll. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Mrinalini, lifestyles are changing, ways of living are changing. Individual needs are taking precedence over collective needs. Everyone wants their own space. My 11-year-old son wants his own space, and that is the biggest challenge. And it's important. It's important in the day to have a little bit of me time. So in smaller homes, to carve that out is the biggest challenge. And secondly, I find that the smaller the home, the higher the budget, so to speak, per square foot, because you're trying to fit in more. So, people come to me saying that, but, it's just 3,000 square foot, but you are doing that much more within 3,000 square foot. And if you make a 3-bedroom in 3,000 square foot versus a 3-bedroom in 4,000 square foot, the 3-bedroom, the per square foot rate would go higher in the 4,000 square foot, lower in the 4,000 square foot flat. So some of these like very simple logistical, challenges like space for individuals and, working around timelines. And of course, everyone wants their house tomorrow, things like that. But otherwise, I think we've sort of got a thumb rule for most other things. We've sort of it's a pleasure making homes for people or offices for individuals.
Yeah, let's see what our individuals have to say about their own challenges. Rajat, could we have the results of the poll, please? So we asked, what are the challenges you currently face with designing smaller homes? Is it big ideas but little space to work with, like you just said? Is it tech integration, which is limiting, or efficient space planning, which is a task, or all of the above? Well, 49% people actually feel all of the above. So these are some common issues, I guess.
Yeah, this is a sort of a leading question, I think, because everyone will say, follow most, these points pretty much cover the challenges that, one faces in designing.
But it's interesting to see that the technical integration is not that much of an issue, or is not something that people are struggling with too much, which is great, right? I mean, that means, but we have so many more products that are available to us. There's so many more people to advise us in how to use that technology. And I think also in terms of the client base, the client base is a lot more accepting and open to innovations today, wouldn't you say?
They're also a lot more educated. Sometimes I get leads from a client saying that, oh, but we can do it this way. And I'm, very grateful for that, because there's only so much exposure that we can have. But people go out everywhere, travel everywhere, and they challenge us. They challenge us to sort of provide better solutions. And not everything can be accommodated. But when it's a good request, we can definitely we rise to the challenge.
It's interesting. We've got a comment from one of our participants here who says, Mohammed Sabir says, imagine if your client asks you to design a room in a way that is visually pleasing but not practical. How would you react?
I would first tell them that you'll hate me in 6 months.
Yeah, I think it's important to put that across, right?
Yes, but no caveat that you put is going to help you. So you absolutely have to put your foot down and explain to them, and you can in many ways with examples. But it is important, like I said before, the planning and the movement through the space and the detailing of the project is very important compared to what it physically looks like, or what visually. The visuals are the easiest part of the project.
Right. And also another interesting question that we've got from Aditi Chamaria, who says that, well, she loves her innovations to begin with, but she also talks about, she's asking whether you come up with designs and then work on the technicalities or vice versa, because I'm sure in various situations, different situations demand different approaches. But do you have some sort of you did talk about thumb rules and how you have certain ways that you approach design, but what takes precedence?
It's mostly we are faced with a challenge and we have to find a solution for it. But sometimes you're given an open slate. For example, when we had the opportunity with Stir to work with concrete, and we did this fantastic installation with concrete where we layered the preamble to the Constitution, and we had different people coming and using writing their favorite words in concrete with a mehendi cone, and on the side there was a preamble developing. So that is a challenge and a solution that we came up by ourselves. So I think more for the most case, we are faced with a problem and then we have to sort of find a solution. But a lot of times the most creative solutions come when we have a blank slate, most creative ideas.
Also panic. Aren't architects known for that? You're most creative when you're faced in panic.
When there's no time left and there's panic and your vendor's not giving you the product, you don't know what it looks like. Somehow it magically comes together.
It all falls together, right? Things just click and they just happen.
And you're telling the client, oh, tomorrow it'll come, don't worry, it's all fine. And on the other hand, you're like calling up, kidhar hai, madam bulai. It's a good sort of game that we have to keep playing continuously.
Well, that's smart, right? You have to play smart. You have to play smart with your clients, with your vendors, with everybody. And
you have to be a people's person to do this job.
But I do want to come back to this idea of, working smart versus working hard. And especially in architecture, we have to you have to get into it and you really have to understand the process and you really have to kind of put your mind to what kind of solutions that you want to bring about, versus taking something off the shelf and employing that where it can be, right? A lot of that comes down to budgets. So how do you kind of deal with that? And I think that's a common question across boards, across borders, across professions. But how do you deal with certain budgets?
I think the most satisfying projects come out when you sort of stick to the budget and yet give the solutions. And there is always an easier or a sort of a more economical way to do things. As long as you're clear upfront with the client, saying that, okay, I can give it to you in this much, but it'll look like this. I think that communication is key.
Yeah.
And yes, it's not always that we stick within, come within the budget, but we most times, and some of my clients here will guarantee that we're not very off. With timelines and budgets, both of those are priorities for us, absolute priorities, and we take pride in delivering on time and within the budget. And you do find, especially in places like India, where you have such fabulous fabricators, like the tap I showed you, they didn't want to sort of spend money in getting the extensions made of that tap, the one with the mountain. So we found a fabricator locally who would extend that, and we didn't buy the extensions from the brand. But so there's always, we have such talented, skilled labor in the country. It's a question of finding them, working with them, spending time. They're more, they do things that I could never do. They work with their hands. So
right.
I think it's a question of developing that network of individuals that you can collaborate with for such. I mean, you can have the idea and you can get it done.
Sure. I also feel that it's a matter of prioritizing, right? Prioritizing what you want to do and how you want to do it. Because if you have a project, because we've got a lot of questions coming in saying that, what if clients can't afford technology, or what if technology is kind of beyond reach or is inaccessible for some reason or the other. But I think it becomes important, and Maithili, please, correct me if I'm wrong or chime in, saying that you have to prioritize where you want to spend what kind of energy, right? It doesn't have to be, one project doesn't have to be low-tech, high design, or high-tech, low design, or high-tech, high design. Like, you have to start to look at certain issues and find solutions to those issues independent of what the larger picture is, but also keep in mind what the larger picture is, right? Like, you can start working with permutation combinations. You can say that, okay, in a particular case, if safety is my priority and I want to kind of up the game and use technology and a digital sort of solution for safety, then I would do something else which is more perhaps local in another area, and vice versa, right? So do you do a lot of that where you kind of like mix
absolutely
solutions?
So I think when we have those initial conversations with the client, we do give them a realistic budget, and based on that, we start valuing. It's a very detailed estimate of everything they want, and then they see the big number, and then you have to start value engineering it. And like everything else, there's always a high and a low. You want home automation, maybe you automate the living rooms, or have a video door phone, which is essential for security. Have automating your blinds is key, because especially with high volumes these days, to open the curtains manually is a tough one. But you don't have to automate your AV. You don't have to have all furniture imported or ready-made. You could prefab, you could custom make some, you could source locally. Even everything you do, you could source high and low. IKEA to Italy, you can have everything in your house. So similarly, in technology as well, there are Indian companies, a lot of them who, like Godrej, who are offering all the locks. There are other companies who offer lighting solutions, smart lighting, smart audiovisual, etc. So it's not that everything has to be high-end automation. You have simple solutions as well. But unlike you rightly pointed out, what is your priority? I have people who tell me, I don't want automation at all. I'd rather have art on my walls.
Right.
So that is their priority. They love art, and they'd rather spend that X budget at the end of the project on the art than upfront on wiring for the technology, and they're very clear about that. So you have to understand what you like and move on from there.
Absolutely. Another very important question, and Reshma's brought this up, Reshma Praveen, and she talks about sustainability and how sustainability can be incorporated into modern technology on economic grounds, right? I mean, one is economic grounds, one is the budget and the finances, but even otherwise, you don't have to compromise on sustainable practices just to make a smarter space.
Correct. Absolutely right. You don't. And sustainability has many facets. I think sourcing, like one of the projects that I showed, sourcing doors, reusing old doors from Chor Bazaar.
Yeah.
Sourcing, instead of using Italian marble, we had used limestone in that house. So I think that itself, that is also an aspect of sustainability. You know,
smarter living, right?
Smart, yeah.
You're making choices that will lead to certain consequences, and those are your choices that you make. So whether it's prioritizing on spaces or on budgets or on products, I think everything, and that's why it's really interesting to talk about smarter living, because it's not one aspect of what you do, right? It's everything. It's everything, and every decision that you take can lead to a smarter environment and a smarter lifestyle, and therefore a smarter living. There are concerns as well. There are concerns in, having a very, very high-tech environment. And we've got Vandana Jain, who asks, do you feel that designs like these make spaces more dangerous to live in? There's a lot of talk about radiation and a lot of talk about electromagnetic fields and this, that, and the rest. And, on one hand, people talk about don't keep your phone in your pocket or don't charge it while you sleep. But on the other hand, we're surrounding ourselves by so much other, so many other sources of all of this. So do you feel, or have you ever kind of come across this kind of a concern before in any project?
There are all kinds of people, I think, and there is a spectrum, and I have to cater to, so I never pass judgment. I only try to sort of, there are people who don't use microwaves.
Yeah.
To people who want everything automated. They only want to talk to Alexa and no one else, right? So, I mean, who am I to judge? I mean, I'm here as a service provider. I just want to make good design. So I think I don't know enough about what are the ill effects or harmful effects of all this technology. I don't think we have enough data to prove anything. We know radiation is harmful, but how much radiation do you get from your cell phone versus just being outdoors in the polluted air that we breathe in?
Yeah.
So you have to find yourself somewhere on that spectrum between the extremes, I think. And we are all sort of, grappling for answers about what's the best way to be, what's the best food to eat, I don't think the previous generation spent so much time in overthinking, the way we do about everything. So, it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to sort of really know who you are by the choices you make. I mean, you have choices, which is already good. But there's a whole spectrum, and you can fit yourself wherever you want.
Absolutely. And I think this might be a good time to ask on behalf of everyone who's watching today, is that how do you see this going into the future? What do you see are some sort of upcoming trends perhaps, or, what is going to be the smart future, and what is it that we're looking forward to, or looking at, even if not forward to?
Yeah, I'll tell you what we're looking at and not looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to is, AI living and, buying houses on the internet that don't exist. And this is for real. People are buying and building homes that are completely virtual. And I think this is a big danger. The technological solutions that we have showcased today are very, very real, and they've grown slowly. But suddenly, all around me, I'm maybe I'm of the older generation, but I find that trying to live in the virtual space is just extremely scary to me. It's going to lead to mental health problems, if not already.
Yeah, I mean, there's this new trend, I think that's kind of happening right now on social media, where people are looking at their AI avatars. But that's true. I think, again, it's about making smart decisions and smart choices, and how you want to kind of go ahead and what you want to see in your own future. And I think it's a little unfortunate at some level that even for me to ask you this question, it's not about what are we looking forward to in our future, but it's more about what are we looking at in our future, which is a little like, I kind of find myself taken aback by my own question a little bit. But I guess that's just the grim reality, right? And but I think what's also at the same time on the flip side is that we have the options and we have the power to make those decisions ourselves, and to choose smartly, whether it is the way we design, the way we live, the technology that we use, what we invest in, and what we buy or don't buy. And I think what's really interesting is that today architecture provides you with all those tools, and you have the information that you want, you have access to it, and therefore you can take decisions and choices, and you can, all of us can come to people like you who are doing some really interesting, innovative work, and learn from you and hire you and work with you to kind of make our living smarter, I hope.
Yes, I agree with you. I mean, when I said before that I'm a little afraid of these projected dystopias, it's not all bad. There's
of course, yeah.
There's such smart solution, like I showed in the slide, happening all over the world, whether it's this building in Italy, and which is now a prototype for many buildings around, where you have the gardens in really coming into your apartment. And it's not just a plant, not a pot, but everything from smart fabrics, which will help, have cheap tensile structures, just to, shading structures all over the street, or, retractable or movable houses, things like that. So I think there are good sort of progress. There is good progress happening towards the physically actual built environment as well, in the actual built environment as well. So we just have to keep our minds open and keep learning. I mean, we have to stay current. I think staying relevant and current is the only way.
True. Yeah. And kind of keeping pace with what's going on, I guess.
Yes. And the pace is accelerating by the day.
It is. Yeah. But thank you so much, Maithili. This has been an absolute pleasure. It's been so interesting because we keep getting glimpses of what you guys are doing, these really cool, funky videos on social media, like someone dancing here, someone pulling that there. But to actually, that's one side of things, but to actually see what goes on behind the scenes, and how there's a lot of thought that's put into design, right? And into creating spaces that are livable, whether they're residences or offices or whatever it may be. And there's an entire process that goes into it. And it's interesting to see that process and to hear from the horse's mouth on how, you go about doing it. And we've had a really engaging discussion. I apologize to all our participants who have sent in questions, but I haven't been able to pick them up. We are a little over time. But thank you so much, Maithili, for being here this evening, for doing this with us. A big, gratitude on behalf of Godrej Logs, GVCC, VC Live, Sneha, and myself. Sneha, maybe you can pop in and say hi or bye. There you are.
Hi, Sneha.
Hello, hi. Thanks, Maithili. That was a really good discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And I just wanted to say, even if we are lighthearted as partners or as a firm, we take our design very seriously.
Absolutely. And it's very apparent. It's very apparent in your work.
Yeah.
But thank you all so much. Thank you, Maithili, Sneha,
Thank you.
Godrej, everybody.
for
an
having
entire
us.
team that's been working behind the scenes for this entire series. And please keep in touch, keep in tune, because we will be having a lot more of these sessions, and we will be sharing information about this very, very shortly. So have a great evening, everyone, and
Looking forward to more
holiday
sessions.
season. Yeah.
You too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Have a good night.
We do hope that the participants will fill out the feedback survey that has been shared on the chat box. So if you can please fill that out, it'll just take you a minute at the most.
And it's very helpful for us to understand what it is that you're looking for in terms of what you would like to hear more about and the kind of people that you would like us to invite to these sessions. So it'd be great for us to hear from you. So take a moment and fill that out, please.
Thanks, everyone, and have a good evening.
Thanks. Bye-bye.